And welcome to this edition of San Diego People. I'm Ross Becker. Almost 500,000 San Diegans live in poverty. I know it's hard to believe. Many of them face what's known as food insecurity, where they simply don't always know where their next meal is coming from. And that's where the San Diego Food Bank comes in, or is certainly trying to. It's kicking off the Food Bank Summer Food Drive to help families make ends meet. First, today on San Diego People, let's talk about the need, the process of helping them, and then later on, we're going to let you know how you can help. I am joined now by James Floros, the President and CEO of the San Diego Food Bank.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. You know, we drive around San Diego. I know I do. We see the pictures from the helicopter. It looks like a beautiful city. It's shining. We've got all kinds of industry here. There's no hunger here. At least that's what the perception is, right?
There's a lot of hunger here. Just the number you mentioned, about 1 in 6 San Diegans, about 460,000 people are what we term as food insecure.
Now, poverty level and food, they go together, don't they? And in many cases, what happens is when you lose a job, you start losing food, and then the cycle starts, right?
Absolutely. We were talking about a cycle of poverty,
Yeah.
and, you know, two of the most basic needs in humanity are food and shelter. So really everything starts with food. So you get down into the weeds about what a food bank really does. We're talking about how food is related to an education, or we relate to education, related to health care, and maybe people being able to take care of their families.
Let's back up just a little bit, because we're not obviously talking about homeless people. I mean, we drive around, we see people on the street, we know they're hungry. We give them things sometimes. But that's not really the hunger we're talking about here. That's some of it, but not all of it.
Less than 10% of who we serve are the homeless. Really, the term they use for who we're serving is the working poor. These are people who need a little bit of a hand up more than a handout. They're going through a rough patch, and they're just fighting every month to make ends meet and give their families food.
And school, that's another place that you find a lot of young people who are going to school trying to learn with their stomach growling, right?
Well, there's a couple of things. Nutrition-related disease is linked to poverty. So when people have less resources, they're not able to afford protein or fresh produce. So now we're talking about kids who are going to school. They're not advancing. They're not developing both mentally, psychologically, and physically. So now they're really not able to concentrate on school. They're not really concentrating on getting an education. So they don't get a good education, which means they probably aren't going to get a good job, which means they're not going to be able to make enough money to make ends meet, so they're going to be dependent on the San Diego Food Bank. So something as simple as proper nutrition for children is related to education, and education related to ending that cycle of poverty.
When you took over this job, what was the number one thing that surprised you the most when you started learning about hunger in San Diego?
I think that it's the working poor. I think everybody thinks, you know, it's just people who are on the dole, people who are just, living under a bridge and homeless, and not that those aren't important, and we have nonprofit partners and we serve the homeless as well, but it's people that you see. It's people you see on the street. Your kids are going to school with their kids, and these are people, everyday people who are just struggling to get by, and when they cut back because they don't have resources, they're buying the wrong kind of food, and now their kids are obese, immune deficiencies, and they're having a whole range of problems related back to not having a proper diet.
We've been talking about the recession. Our economy went through certainly a pullback for the last few years. How has that affected the number of homeless and not homeless, but hungry, and how has it affected the food bank?
You know, what you see in the media about the economy turning around, we don't see it. The demand for our services has never been greater. Okay. We're serving 320,000 people every month, and we talk about the 60,000 that are food insecure. So we're not even hitting all those 460,000 every month.
The line lines up. We're looking at the video right now. The line starts early, doesn't it?
We absolutely, and we have a close relationship with the county. So we're signing people up for CalFresh, which more people know more as food stamps or SNAP. But we see the demand and need for that. They've cut back on some of the resources available to people in need. So, you know, it's a bad situation getting worse.
Now, I want to have you explain as well the tentacles that you have in this community, because it's not just people showing up at the food bank to get food.
Right.
You deliver food to many other agencies that provide hot meals, that provide long-term food for people, whether they be faith-based or others. Tell me about the network that you've developed to get the food where it needs to be.
One of the things I really, really love about the food bank, there is no more grassroots organization than the San Diego Food Bank. We work with over 325 nonprofits. If people know of a nonprofit that they like, that they support, and they have a feeding program, more likely than not, they're getting the majority of their food from us. So really, you're talking about grassroots, and it's big agencies, Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul, San Diego Rescue Mission, all the way down to little church groups, and it's everywhere in between. So we're great on partnerships, and that's how we're able to reach that many people every month.
Let's talk about the network then on the other side, the people that bring you the food. I mean, obviously, it could be me, it could be anyone can deliver food to the food bank and
Absolutely.
donate. But you also have some big names that donate food to the food bank and make sure those shelves are always full.
Well, one of our best partners is Vons. I mean, that's just been a tremendous partner for us. We do the summer food drive and the holiday food drive in concert with them. We get food that's nearing best use by date, expiration dates, which actually, per the USDA standards, actually food's way better, way past those deadlines.
Yes,
so we get a lot of that. Plus, we're doing the summer food drive coming up here, and people can go into a Vons and they can buy a pre-bagged bag of food. So there's a lot of opportunities there. But Vons, tremendous partner for us.
And how does the fresh food work?
Well, you know what? We're all about fresh produce, and people think, oh, you're a food bank, you're just giving out
cans of spaghetti or something.
We did 20 million pounds of food last year. Wow. 7 million of that fresh produce. And we have a relationship with the California Food Bank Association, and we're able to purchase fresh produce that's perfectly good, but not good enough to be in a grocery store. Wrong size, wrong shape, what have you. Last year we purchased 5 million pounds of fresh produce.
And fresh produce is really important for the health situation for a lot of these people because it's not just processed food that they should be eating. The kids particularly need to get that healthy food.
Absolutely. And again, as we mentioned, people who have less resources, they really can't afford fresh produce. So you have people that will see a punch drink and it's orange flavored and they think, oh, this has got some vitamin C in it. It's high in sugar. This is not healthy for their kids. So really we're talking about the line between hunger and obesity. It's a very fine line. People have less resources. They're not able to afford that fresh produce. Their kids aren't getting that. They're not developing. They're not able to concentrate in school. It's a big cycle.
What's the biggest challenge facing the food bank right now, other than just collecting food on a day-to-day basis?
That's a big question.
I know it is a big question because you got to keep growing for this community. The community keeps growing as well. So I suppose you're looking to the future saying the need's not going to get any less, is it?
No, and you know what? We're a local nonprofit, so we really depend on this community rallying around us. Obviously, we're stakeholders, people who really buy into our mission, and really getting enough resources, getting enough money, enough food. So really, we depend on that community to come out and support their local food bank.
A lot more to talk about. We're going to bring some additional guests on, some of your partners for this particular year.
All about partnerships.
All right, stay right here. Thousands of San Diego children face hunger during the summertime. Summertime is really a special time for the food bank because they don't get free food from school. We're going to continue our discussion with the San Diego Food Bank and how they meet the needs of those school children and how you can help as well. When we return, stay with us here on San Diego People. Back to San Diego People. I'm joined once again by James Floros, the CEO of the San Diego Food Bank. And joining us now is Adam Day, who's the Assistant Tribal Member for the Sycuan Band of the Kumeyaay Nation. Welcome, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Adam, you are joining with the food bank this year to help fight poverty and hunger in San Diego. Tell us how your organization is going to partner with the food bank and take on this big challenge.
Well, first and foremost, Sycuan's been a proud sponsor of the food bank and a supporter for many, many years. Sycuan's proud to sponsor many charities. There's just an incredible number of worthwhile organizations throughout this region. But the food bank really hits home because, it was less than a generation ago that the commodity truck would back up to the reservation and many members would take advantage of that. And we're very fortunate to be in a situation where we can help other people, and we're proud to do it. The food bank does a great job day in, day out. It's always easy for people to pay attention during the holiday season. But, the irony is during the summer seasons when kids are out of school, that's when the need is the greatest. And it's really a tragedy when you hear the numbers. Almost 500,000 San Diegans are in poverty, and so many of them are kids. And when school's out and the food bank can't provide the backpacks that they do during the school year, it's just an opportunity for us to reach out even more and really step in and help solve the problem. So, we're glad that you're highlighting the issue. We really want your listeners and just to step up and go to Vons, go to the food bank's website, roll up your sleeves, take a part, and help solve the problem because this is an issue that can be solved, and we've got to get together as a community to do that.
I know the nation really understands this for the reason you mentioned, the history involved in this. But the weird thing is that you don't think about that in the summer. You would think when children go home and are with their families, that's when they're going to get the food. When they're at school, many times they're busy all day, but it is just the opposite, isn't it? And in the summertime, many times, that's when they're left on their own.
That's exactly right. You know, what better time for kids to have fun and enjoy themselves in the summer? I mean, you don't want to be stressed out with school and a lot of other things that you're worried about. You want to go out and have fun and play.
That's what we're supposed to do in the summer. That's what kids are supposed to do, aren't they?
Yeah, and you don't want your stomach growling, and you can't concentrate, you can't achieve things. So it's really, like I said, it's a tragedy that we as a society haven't solved this problem, but, you know, we'll let the legislature and the city council deal with the policy issues. We just need to join together, you know, governments like Sycuan, community partners, corporations, individuals. Do what you can and help solve this problem. And like I said, go to Vons, buy the $5 bags. They're pre-packed. And they're ready to go, and they're going to go a long way.
James, what does this relationship mean with Sycuan?
You know, as we talked about earlier, it's all about partnerships. And what's really kind of neat, it's kind of a neat evolution, because at one time they're one of our biggest clients, and now they're one of our biggest supporters, and they're giving back in the community. And not only does Sycuan support the San Diego Food Bank, but they support so many worthwhile charities. So I think that is pretty cool.
Well, you don't have to explain the need, that's for sure, because of the history there, right?
Absolutely, it hits home. And, you know, partners like Vons and Sycuan and Cox Communications, it's all about a community coming together to support an important cause.
It what just occurred to me is that food is a commodity. We're not talking about food here. We're talking about emotion. When you feed people, they have a smile on their face. They feel better about themselves and the communities they live in. I'm sure, Adam, that's part of this too, is that just the feeling in the community of helping people.
It builds your self-confidence. Obviously, it makes you ready to go solve the day's problems. Makes you more involved in with your family, with your church, with your neighborhood, at your work, wherever you might find yourself. So it's just, you know, that hierarchy of needs, and first and foremost at the foundation is food. We've got to solve food and shelter, and thankfully Jim and the food bank are doing a phenomenal job. They're breaking all the records here, and we're proud to partner with them. We're going to continue to partner with them, and we hope that your viewers do the same.
I think the other thing you mentioned, which is important, because we always get involved in politics here in the newsroom all the time and talk back and forth. This is not about politics. It doesn't matter how the long-term problems get solved, whether it be the homeless or the economy or whatever. This is putting your finger in the dike of hunger right now, isn't it?
And we're Switzerland, and we get support from both sides of the aisle.
You do.
And they have different agendas, but it still comes together. You know, we serve active duty military who can't feed their families. We have people who don't like, you know, people who are dependent on government support. Well, you know what? Let's break the cycle of poverty. Let's support education. Let's support nutrition. And let's break that cycle of poverty. So, you know, it's really, again, it's a community coming together for a single cause. That's probably the most important cause.
The members, the people that you represent here today, how do they feel about this? Are they getting involved with you? It's not just a name on the outside of a bag, is it?
No, I mean, our chairman has been to the distribution center. We've got employees who volunteer as well. We partner in all different kinds of ways.
You got a big team.
Absolutely. We've got, between the casino and the tribal government, the U.S. Grand Hotel, and our resort, we have close to 4,000 employees. Wow. 99% of whom are non-Native Americans.
Right.
So we're proud that we're supporting the economy here, but more importantly, we're proud that our team, as you say, can give back. And as I said earlier, you know, the numbers speak for themselves. When 500,000 people in this region live in poverty, you know, people can debate about how they want to solve the problem, but in the meantime, we've got to act and do what we can amongst ourselves.
And each one of those team members, I would, has a different reason for getting involved. Maybe they know someone, maybe they have a family member that needs help as well, or just live next to them. We were talking before we went on the air about sitting next to someone at work who might be hungry, who might need food, and we don't really even realize it, do we? Because hunger isn't that person on the corner.
And the average amount of time that somebody uses our services is like 5 months. Oh. So we're talking about people that really need that hand up. These are people maybe going through a rough patch, people that just can't make ends meet. We have seniors that have to make a decision. Are they going to pay for their medication? Are they going to pay for food? Or are they going to pay their utilities? Sure. So really it's about helping people during a hard time.
It's not a long-term. So when you look at these people, you don't look at them necessarily as a long-term need for hunger or for food. This is in a sense, a short-term to get them back on their feet until they can get a bridge, if you will.
That's what we're hoping to do, and by really improving children's ability to get an education, that's about giving people a hand up. It's about empowering people to be able to be self-sufficient.
Adam, let's underline again what you and your partners and your people and your team want the rest of this community to do to help you make this year successful for the food bank?
Well, I first acknowledge the problem, and don't be ashamed. And as you said, people, it's a silent problem because people don't want to talk about it. But step up, seek to help. For your viewers and listeners, and talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your nonprofits that you're part of. But contribute money. Go to Vons and buy a $5 pre-packed bag.
That's so easy to do, too. You don't have to think about it, do you?
You're there at the checkout stand. What's an extra $5? You've loaded up your cart. Pay it forward for someone who's in need.
And let me understand this. If you do that, will Vons deliver that then?
Yeah,
or do you take it with you?
What happens is when you're there, the bags are pre-made. They're there. As Adam said, you just add $5 to your grocery bill, and then that bag goes right into a barrel, and then food bank staff are picking up those.
So you don't have to put it in your car, take it anywhere.
No. We'll do all the heavy lifting. You just pay for it. We'll handle the rest.
You handle the rest from the store to the mouth that it needs.
It's so simple. If everyone did that, you'd have this problem.
Last year we did about 50,000 bags. So my staff will cringe when I say our goal this year is 60,000 bags.
That's all right. It can be done. I see. I like that.
You see him off camera. He's squirming.
Yeah, no. But even Adam said it can be done.
Yes, absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you. We're going to keep talking about this. We've got some more guests. Some more of your partners are going to come and talk with us as well. Still ahead, how you can support the food bank all year round. We talked about it a little bit. We have some more discussion about this challenge in our community and how these people are helping us face that challenge. We'll be right back here on San Diego People. San Diego People, we're continuing our discussion today about the hunger facing thousands of families here in San Diego. I'm joined again by James Floros, the CEO of the San Diego Food Bank, and Cian Guerra of Cox Communications, one of the partners. Hi, Cian.
Hi, thank you.
How are you? Tell me why Cox got involved in this as far as the food bank is concerned this year.
Well, the food bank is such a wonderful organization. They're doing so much in the community, and it's so easy for people to get involved. Buying food, donating it, and yet it really fills a need that is so great in this community. And, Cox Communications, we're very, very focused on helping the community, whether it's our neighbor, whether it's our customers. We just want to make a difference, and the food bank is allowing us to do that with this.
And food seems to be such a basic need for people. I assume that was part of this. I know all of your team members, all your Cox team members all over the San Diego area, each one of them buy into this as well, don't they?
Absolutely. We have such wonderful employees at the company. They just want to help in every way they can, and it's all year long. And we've had family, friends that they know who have probably experienced hunger, and you don't even have to be in poverty. So there are 230,000 school children in this county who are either on free or reduced school lunches, and so it could happen to anyone.
Now, as far as Cox is concerned, and obviously we have Vons. That's a place you can go and you can actually see and touch the bags and make sure you buy them. Are there places that Cox is going to be visible, if you will, to the community?
The Cox stores, where people can find one of those in San Diego County, and you can go there. The red barrels are out, and they can go and they can make a food donation. Any non-perishable item is great. I kind of like the protein side of that for reasons why we talked about. I love peanut butter. Peanut butter is great.
Oh, yeah.
Kids love peanut butter. It's high in protein, so come out to a Cox store and bring a jar of peanut butter.
Spam, corned beef hash, all of that stuff,
tuna,
right?
It's all good.
Because, again, you're taking care of the perishable stuff. It's hard to do that in a point like this.
Absolutely.
Now, there's another side. Obviously, you're gathering food, Cox and the food bank and the others. But at the same time, this is an education process for the community. They see the red barrels. They might ask a question. Well, right.
And we see that. Sometimes they go, I didn't bring food. I didn't know about it. We tell them, go on SanDiegoFoodBank.org. You can make a contribution. You can sign up to be a volunteer. You can host a food drive of your own. And there's an equation. We can take $1 and leverage that into 5 meals. And I don't know of a nonprofit gift that you can push that far. So, go online and see what's going on.
Well, it's wonderful Cox is involved because in addition to obviously the people involved in Cox, you also are an information company. And you have a way to get the word out, don't you?
Absolutely. And that's why, we do have 6 stores around the county. We have them in Chula Vista, Santee, San Diego, which is just off the 94 and the 805, Hillcrest, Escondido, and Oceanside. So there are a number of locations that are convenient for customers all around the county. And not even just customers. We encourage the public to come in. But, you know, people come into our stores, whether it's to order service or to pay a bill or check out the new technology. And while they're in there, you know, come and bring some food and drop it into the red barrels, and we'll accept it.
And the education process of this is so important, too, is that, again, being out in the community and telling people what we're trying to tell them today, that hunger is not just that person under the bridge,
Correct.
that it is your neighbor, that it is maybe the person sitting next to you at work, right?
Yes, it's really universal, and you're talking about 500,000 people in this county who don't know where their next meal is coming
It's
from.
hard to believe that number is so large.
It is, and that's probably a national statistic that plays out. But again, it's people that maybe lost their job, maybe lost their home, and suddenly they don't know what to do. They can't put food on the table, and they definitely can't put nutritious food on the table. So it's really helping people kind of make ends meet.
When you talk to the people at Cox about this partnership, have you found that there are some people who say to you, oh, I know this is really important because a friend of mine, a family member of mine, used this at one point or certainly needed it at one point? Are you getting some of those personal stories?
Absolutely, and we actually put the red barrels out in our locations as well so that our employees can donate. And we do hear those stories where employees say, oh, you know, before I got my job, I was in, you know, dire straits, or I was in this situation, and I felt this, and I know what it's like to go through, or to watch your children go through that, because parents don't want to see their kids hungry. And so they want to give back, and that's why we have the barrels at our locations for the employees, because some of them have actually personally seen it from family or friends or neighbors.
And the summertime, we talked, Jim, about the summertime and kids out of school. And I know for Cox, again, education is really important. You're involved in a lot of those causes as well. You want the kids to be able to learn, but they can't learn when they're hungry.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I remember there's actually one of the National Teachers of the Year years ago. She actually the homeless kids, and her most important thing was to get them fed first thing before they did anything else in the classroom. And that goes whether you're in the classroom or not. You just, in order to stay focused, in order to feel good about yourself, in order to be happy, you just need to get those basics taken care of.
The teachers that actually bring their own, out of their own pocket, will bring granola bars and food, because they'll see the kids who they know they didn't have breakfast, probably didn't have a good meal the night before, and they're just kind of there. They're just existing, but they're not thinking about getting an education. They're not there to see their friends. You know, during the school year, they're just showing up to get fed.
And now in the summertime, they don't have even that safety net.
Absolutely. And all of our partner agencies, we see a spike in the demand for our for their services. So it means they're coming in and they're getting more food from our warehouses to try to meet that community need.
Well, we have about a minute and a half left on this program this morning, and I want to underline some of that. And I'm going to turn it over to you for just a second. I want you to tell people what to do. All of the people who are great supporters of Cox Communications, the people who now understand a little bit more, what should they do to help out this particular cause?
Absolutely. So they can come from now through July 31st. They can come to any Cox store around the county and drop off their food, non-perishables, healthy food, as we've talked about, and bring it in during store hours. They can go to our website and pick a location that's easy for them and check out the hours. And then every Saturday, we're actually going to have a special drop-off event so the public can come out, get some, information about the food bank and drop off their food, and there'll be music and prizes. And
wonderful.
The community, I mean, we've seen it time and time again in San Diego. People in San Diego care, and they want to make a difference. So we're trying to make it easy and convenient for them to do that.
And obviously, let's underline the Vons connection again and the Sycuan connection again.
There's 56 Vons locations. You know what? Go do your shopping, toss a bag or two in one of those red barrels. And of course, none of this would be possible without Port of Sycuan. It's all about partnerships. It's all about the people who support you. So we're very thankful for that. Come out and support what I think is probably the most important cause in San Diego, and it's feeding people in need.
Well, now it's time for people to take the information we gave them this morning and understand what the problem is. And when they go in, get that bag of food, and you're going to feel a lot better about yourself when you do, aren't you?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks,
Thank
Ross.
you.
And good luck with the campaign this
Thank
year.
you.
And thank you, Cox, for being involved.